Now let me start by talking about family-run business. He is not the first nor the last to show favoritism for a family member. Special posts can be created specifically for family members, like when former Minister of Tourism Nazri Aziz created the post of Special Officer for his son Nadim. Nadim may not have been on the government payroll, but who wouldn't like to be whizzed to exotic locations in first class or an all expenses paid belajar sambil melawat? A month into his tenure as PM, now we're coming back to present day time, Anwar quietly nominated his eldest daughter, Nurul, to be his senior advisor on economics and finance. There had been no prior public announcement nor newspaper reporting. He must have known this would upset the public, upset the rakyat, make the rakyat angry. So when she inadvertently or accidentally mentioned this special post in a mainstream media interview in February 2023, all hell broke loose. But Anwar, he dismissed the allegation of nepotism and said, nepotism is where a family member is given a position to abuse power, enrich themselves, obtain contracts and get paid a huge sum. And does Anwar think we are stupid? When relatives are given special positions, including within political parties, they can wield enormous influence and few people dare challenge them because of the blood ties. How many of you have worked in family-run businesses where the boss's daughter or the boss's son is your boss? They are in an extremely powerful position if they are in government, okay? And they are not accountable to the public. Now, Malaysians were not convinced by Anwar's definition of nepotism, and the public backlash prompted Nurul's removal. This is 2 years ago, 2023. However, it was very concerning when she kept popping up in overseas locations whenever her father was present for a conference or summit. And when they were questioned, his aides would say her expenses had been paid for by the NGOs. When these politicians were in opposition, they would have cried out, the same people would have cried out nepotism. But as the ruling party, their aides will come to the rescue with daft comments like, the public should not question the Prime Minister's decision. Do you remember how towards the end of April 2025, last month? Nurul suddenly came out with a claim that reformasi was not dead. Okay, reformasi belum mati lagi. And she urged Malaysians to be patient because reforms take time. It felt strange that reformasi had been brought up for no apparent reason. And she herself, she hadn't been seen around for a while, for some months. But we later found out why. Because at around the same time as she was going on about reformasi not being dead, it was strange to read many negative newspaper reports circulating about the then PKR Deputy President Rafizi Ramli's absence in cabinet, his extended leave and his alleged resignation. This was in April, okay? Now even Bersatu Youth joined in the chorus questioning Rafizi's absence. And so, was it a coincidence that 1 week after all these negative reports about Rafizi, an intense lobbying began for Nurul to vie for the Deputy President's post in PKR? Coincidence or proper planning? Anyway, PKR's Vice President Shamsul Iskandar Akin, who is also PKR Hang Tuah Jaya Chief, and other division chiefs openly declared the support for Nurul to challenge the incumbent PKR Deputy President Rafizi. Now, Shamsul hailed his boss's daughter as someone who is capable of advancing reformist values, driving change and translating the people's aspirations more effectively. Really? Didn't her electorate reject her in Pematang Pauh? So, What are her notable achievements besides spearheading the movement to free her father from prison? What has she done to advance women's causes? What has she done to stimulate change? What has she done to help single mothers who have been abandoned by their polygamous former husbands? The Communications Minister, Fahmi Fadzil, came out of the blue and denied the charge of nepotism. He, like others in PKR, were confident of her capabilities, her integrity as a future leader of PKR, and her, I think he said, high diplomacy to unite party members. Really? As far as I can see, there's a lot of infighting in PKR. Anyway, the PKR Women Deputy Chief, Faiza Arifin, she voiced support for Nurul Izzah because these are her reasons, okay? No woman has occupied the position before. Is that it? No woman has occupied the position before, and so she qualifies for the post? Pasir Gudang MP Hassan Karim claimed that he opposed nepotism, but said that Nurul was an ideal candidate for the post, as she has been involved in PKR's struggle since she was 18. Seriously? We know that Nurul has now become the deputy president. And it was, as Rafizi had predicted, that she would win. Of course she would. She is the boss's daughter. So it appears that none of these people appear to want to listen to the Rakyat, who understand that with nepotism, the seeds of mistrust will be sown among the Rakyat. Nepotism goes against democratic principles and diminishes equal opportunities. Nepotism discourages highly qualified and more experienced contenders from participating. Posts that are filled with people with blood ties instead of merit will eventually lead to inefficiency, potential conflict of interest, possible abuse of power, probable misuse of funds, and discrimination. And we have seen firsthand with Malaysian political dynasties that family members who occupy important positions and family businesses and cronies often win lucrative contracts. Anwar is a huge disappointment for Malaysians who supported change and reform. Any younger person who is capable and shows leadership is a threat to the hierarchy of the party, and that is why capable people are being sidelined or kicked out. Nevertheless, PKR is no longer seen as a party which champions justice and equal rights. PKR behaves more like Parti Keluarga Rakyat, mother, father and daughter. Malaysians are fed up with these people playing, some family game. Perhaps Nurul is being groomed to become Prime Minister, and her qualification being Anwar's daughter. Perhaps Rafizi should challenge Anwar for the top post.